Where is my slide? Okay, I need to, for some reason, my slide is not coming up. I need to close my slide off and come back again. Returning to one vehicle with a skillful means so right here we go. Right, so let's go to the initial verse. The Tathagata's nature is perfect and wisdom vast like an ocean. This has been repeated several times. So all teachings are the same as one Dharma, sentient being except as much as the capabilities can hold. I think in this particular line here, except as much as the capabilities can hold, we need to understand that there are two aspects to this. One is the journey of learning. Number two is the speed of learning. Okay, so now if one were to travel on a journey or immeasurable distance, whether one is slow or fast, in the context of the kalpa, is actually infinitely small. Okay, so doesn't mean that one is slow to understand that he's left far behind, or neither does it mean that one who is ahead is well ahead, because one is slow can catch up also very fast. Okay, so there's no competition there. The only thing there is only that of the oneself. So, but therefore, we can just do the best of our ability. And I think all the things that we do, we are all householders, and therefore we all can only practice and cultivate to the best of our ability. And that is in itself is already good enough. So the Buddha established skillful means according to capabilities and ultimately return to true one vehicle. And so the Master's explanation here is that obviously the Tathagata nature is Dharma nature of Tathagata is completely perfect, and he understands everything in the universe. So we have different capabilities, and we learn as much as we can. So as we learn as much as we can, and if we were to then put in those efforts in contemplation, you'll be surprised of the realization that one can get and how one realization can unfold to the next. It's like petals of a flower, and all you need is just one to slowly sprout, and you start unfolding, and all the multiple petals will come. And so these treasures of the Dharma that have all the treasures. Now, so obviously, some people have very sharp capability, and they will unfold, and that's because of the past life. And obviously, but having said that, we are still hindered by our karmic storehouse, which is the eighth consciousness. So in this eighth consciousness, in every lifetime that we come back, we need to come back to purify all those karmic seeds, which is residing in the eighth consciousness. So like one brother Chris Chu quite rightly said, and which I totally agree, is that if everything goes well, how can then we polish the rough edges? So you see, you need friction, right, to polish even a diamond. So this is what life is about, and to take on this life, becoming this life journey, and we do not know what we are polishing in this life because we do not know what karmic seeds we have in a storehouse. So in going through all this karmic retribution that we have, we will have to actually do so knowingly, that we got to learn from that and change. So in this circumstantial retribution, or I refer it to as fixed karma, that if we are born in a certain country, but obviously this is purely my opinion, and it's not so much of, and this is my opinion, meaning my practice, is that if I'm born in this country, I live in this country, and I will learn to settle whatever karmic retribution that I have. And these are the lessons that obviously I have to sit down and contemplate what I can learn from the karmic fixed karma that I have in this life, and to settle it, because that part we cannot change. Obviously, there are people who just ignore that and be away. But like I said, karma never forgets an address. If not this life, it'll be next. So in the sutra verse and Master's explanation is here. Sanpusha, because these causes and conditions, you should know that all Buddhas use the power, skillful means to give the one Buddha vehicle by teaching it as the three. So what exactly are these causes and conditions? Sentient beings' capabilities were not yet mature, and the capabilities vary greatly because these causes and conditions, people have limited wisdom. So even with the Dharma treasury, one is unable to receive fully because of one causes and conditions. So this is a point that I was illustrating yesterday. Remember I said, even with the spiritual treasure of the Dharma, that does not mean that one can just propel to full enlightenment, because there are spiritual treasures. There are other treasures that need to have to be in a position to cultivate one to advance forward. So these are the spiritual treasures that we got to build life after life, and be able to then have those treasures to allow us to practice into the mind continuum into the future lives. And these treasures include the path, the family, the vows you undertake as a disciple, and so on and so forth. And this is actually a subject of another discussion. And altogether, there are actually 8 treasures that one should earn to be in the path, especially for us as a householders. But these treasures must also come with some spiritual endowments. The spiritual endowments are if you like, the life that one is in an ideal condition to be able to practice well. But obviously there are conditions of life vary from one to the other. But sometimes some conditions are better than others. For example, if you want to, you will walk amongst the masses and the people that you serve, how are they in a position for them to practice? So you try to make them to be in better condition, they get inspired and be able to practice. So in very much the same way, even ourselves, we must have those spiritual rewards. So in a set of spiritual rewards, set of spiritual treasures to be able to advance forward. So the lessons learned. If we can more deeply understand the truths of impermanence, suffering, emptiness, and non-self, then we will realize the true emptiness. After we realize true emptiness, we can penetrate it more deeply by giving without expectation, thus realizing wondrous existence, like what Dr. Eddie Chan mentioned today. So this wondrous existence, which Master already explained in past few lessons ago. So therefore we need to take upon this life that we have to realize the wondrous existence. Wondrous existence is the ability to really understand the impermanence and the duality of the phenomena of things, and within the phenomena of things, within the duality, then we need to go into understand the emptiness of that duality. Duality, actually don't look down that duality means it's good or bad and things like that. But duality, there's a lot of wisdom within duality. As you try to learn about the Tao of duality, you understand how deep that Tao is in duality of things. And if you can understand that, then you can gradually grow towards the emptiness of that duality. And this is obviously another subject of discussion, but that would actually then realize to go down to give you an understanding of what this wondrous existence is. But then if we don't understand that, how can you then be in the unconditioned practice? Because unconditioned practice, you need to come from the conditioned practice. And that's the reason why we need to understand that duality. Then we do not only transform ourselves in the process, we also transform others. Now, sometimes we come across that if we have chance, I'll listen. If not, so be it. So this is a mindset must be reminded is that we must not have. You see, in a spiritual practice, we, in our own worldly ways, of course, we always get the learning of the Dharma to fit into our schedule, right? And instead, we should be fitting our schedule to the Dharma. Now, obviously, because we're householders, I know if you're in a monastic, no issue because you're in a full-time practitioners. But we are householders. We are householders in practice. Where do you find the balance? Can we just drop the work? If you drop the work and fully go into practice, might as well join the monastic. But if the decision of the life is, look, I'm still a householder, I still got my work, I still got my family to take care of, then we need have to find a way. And this is what today's topic is about the skillful means, right? To be in the practice. And that's the part that relate to what I said yesterday about unlearning the worldly ways. Unlearning the worldly ways, it's really is a big topic of discussion. But very briefly, unless one have a moment of awakening, it's difficult to actually even progress to the next stage, which is accepting. And from that accepting, one got to be going to advancing to attaining and accomplishing. So it's within that. It's a lot of understanding that one have to go through to start unlearning. And unlearning is why? Because it's a big step. Because we all feel the habitual tendency. Imagine the habitual tendency plus the worldly ways. Then mix it all this up with all the skandhas coming through the stabilities that we need to understand. So so to do this, we must be very clearly very diligent in our practice and not to even slightly deviate from the practice, so that we can get engaged in the flawless studies of the precept by keeping us intact. Samadhi, making sure the stillness of our heart and our mind, and then we have go into wisdom learning. And so in so doing, importantly, we need to contemplate and then concentrate on the Dharma. So in contemplation, our skillful means today. Being in harmony is about learning to live life in accord with the balance of elements. Yes. And sometimes things may not be as well as balance of elements as well as imbalance of things. So these imbalance of things are the imbalance of what we find as imbalance and the phenomena of things. And so that we, if you can do that, then we can practice in samadhi and you're not influenced by that. But such is skillful living, and we learn that then you live in harmony with the way things are. So living skillfully enables you to understand and realize the wisdom of applying the teachings in your daily life. So therefore, if you can do that, you will then have the realization from your contemplation. And this realization are what you call spiritual insights. And these spiritual insights are what you call also known as inner knowing. And the inner knowing are the depth of the teaching. So the fundamental skill is built around the foundation of virtues. Why the foundation of virtue? Because it's foundation of virtues. The virtues can only enter into the heart, can't enter into the mind. So therefore, going back to what I've said in the past, so you can actually then learn to build the virtuous heart. You begin to be able to tame the mind, and that's when you are able to go toward the samadhi. So continuing from there, with the skills of growing in virtues, the mind discerns the essence of the teachings, which is what I said just now. Otherwise, the mind cannot distinguish, because the mind can only look at things what satisfy the ego. But if the heart is filled with virtues, then the mind can then solely discern the essence of teaching, which is in the virtues. So without laying the virtuous foundation, then the ego will take control. One cannot begin to understand what wisdom life is. So the virtues are the practice of learning beyond the self of things. Why is it beyond the self of things? It's beyond your ego. In the absence of self, which is beyond your ego, you learn beyond your mind. And that's why you can then grow into higher learning and wisdom, then beyond the thoughts. Why is it beyond the thought? It's beyond the mind. What is the mind? A mind is nothing more than just a bundle of thoughts. Relationship. I'm not sure whether I shared with you this before, but here it goes again. We resonate with this teaching about skillfully, and sometimes it relates to relationship. So we have sometimes a disagreement in relationship. So skillfully stir a disagreement into a dialogue. If you don't, there's no dialogue, the disagreement, the hurt will still remain. Okay, and then for the congruence of minds. Okay, all right. Thank you. That's all.
Pardon, our great Master Chin for another round of awesome, wonderful sharing. Yeah.